Welcome to Microchip's briefing. The content of the briefing includes Sachs, Stocktwits, Leadership Circle CEOs, what you need to know. Stock market news today, stocks close higher as Dow notches fifth straight record. TSMC's chairman Mark Liu will retire from chip giant next year. Guangdong sets up new $1.5 billion chip fund as semiconductor push continues. Hong Kong to seek $2.84 billion Hong Kong dollars funding for Chip Research Institute, Sundong. Sachs, Stocktwits, Leadership Circle CEOs, what you need to know. Yahoo! Sachs CEO Mark Metrick predicts that 2024 will be a year of two halves, with a slow first half followed by increased positivity and consumer excitement in the second half. Stocktwits CEO Rishi Khanna highlights the interest in single stocks among investors, with names such as Mullen, Tesla, AMC, Nvidia, and TMG being among the most viewed stocks on Stocktwits this year. Leadership Circle CEO Bill Adams emphasizes the importance of succession planning for businesses and notes that activism has leveled out, with capitalism ultimately prevailing. Stock market news today, stocks close higher as Dow notches fifth straight record. Yahoo! TSMC's chairman Mark Liu will retire from chip giant next year. South China Morning Post. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., TSMC, the world's largest contract chip manufacturer, has announced that it will recommend current CEO C.C. Wei as the successor to chairman Mark Liu, who will be retiring next year. The move is seen as providing continuity to TSMC, a major supplier to Apple, as it faces increasing pressure from China, which considers Taiwan a renegade province. TSMC's business is expected to be boosted by the growing demand for high-performance computing chips for 5G networks and data centers. The company plans to build new plants in Germany, Japan, and the U.S. state of Arizona to meet global demand and reduce supply chain risks. Guangdong sets up new $1.5 billion chip fund as semiconductor push continues. South China Morning Post. The southern Chinese province of Guangdong has established an 11 billion Chinese yuan, $1.5 billion, chip industry fund as the country continues to invest in achieving greater semiconductor self-reliance amid escalating U.S. export restrictions. Guangdong is among several local governments trying to align regional industry development with Beijing's priorities. The U.S. has also borrowed a page from Beijing's playbook of using state funds to support strategic projects with the 2022 CHIPS and Science Act. The first semiconductor grant will award $35 million to the U.S. subsidiary of British aerospace firm BAE Systems, said the U.S. Commerce Department last week. Hong Kong to seek $2.84 billion Hong Kong dollars funding for Chip Research Institute, Sundong. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's authorities are seeking $2.84 billion Hong Kong dollars, $364 million, in funding to establish a research institute focused on developing semiconductor technology. The city's innovation chief, Sun Dong, told lawmakers that the institute would not be hindered by U.S.-led chip gear export restrictions to mainland China and that mainland domestic production activity of third-generation semiconductor equipment would alleviate the future impact of Western restrictions. The institute will set up two major pilot production lines to conduct research and testing on silicon carbide and gallium nitride, both promising compounds in the field of new material technology. You may want to change your investing strategy in 2024. CNN. Analysts are split on how the stock market will perform next year, with predictions ranging from an 11% drop to a 17% increase. However, some common themes emerged. Investors will need to actively manage their portfolios next year, rather than relying on long-run investment strategies. This is because stocks and bonds have been unusually volatile this year. Goldman Sachs analysts believe that tech companies responsible for stock market gains this year will step out of the spotlight in 2024, with cyclical sectors and small-cap stocks being good bets. Meanwhile, U.S. Treasuries are expected to remain volatile, declining early on as the economic slowdown gathers momentum but rising as the recovery evolves. However, long-term bond yields look attractive, and analysts believe that Treasuries at current yields may be an attractive long-term option for investors seeking high-quality income. In other news, U.S. Steel has agreed to be purchased by Nippon Steel for $14.1 billion. Blockchain's rebirth will pass United States by. Reuters breaking views. Regulators are cracking down on digital asset firms while Congress dithers over passing rules to govern them. Financial hubs like London, faster to set guidelines, will capture the value created not just by crypto, but by potentially powerful distributed ledger technology. Spider-Man 2 studio victim of huge hack, reports. BBC. Insomniac Games, the studio behind the popular PlayStation 5 game Spider-Man 2, has reportedly been targeted in a ransomware attack. Hackers demanded $2 million from the Sony-owned studio to prevent the release of stolen information. The leaked data is said to include details of future releases, work-in-progress footage of an upcoming Wolverine game, private employee data, and internal company emails. Ransomware group Resida has claimed responsibility for the attack and also claimed to have attacked the British Library last month. This is the latest in a series of high-profile leaks from game studios, including Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto 6. TSMC chair steps down in power shift at global chip linchpin. Bloomberg. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, Chairman Mark Liu plans to retire in 2024 and hand the reins of the chipmaker to CEO C.C. Wei. The reshuffle means Wei is set to become one of the most influential executives in technology, steering Apple's and Nvidia's main chip-making partner. Liu and Wei led TSMC through the global chip shortage, transforming the firm from a little-known manufacturer into a celebrated name in the industry. Wei became co-CEO in 2013 and was the highest-paid CEO on Taiwan's main stock index in 2022, earning $11.3 million in salary and bonuses. Update 1 TSMC to promote from within after chairman retires next year. Yahoo! Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, has named C.C. Wei as its new chairman, succeeding Mark Liu, who is retiring next year. Wei, who has a doctorate in electrical engineering from Yale University, has been with the company since 1998. TSMC is the world's largest contract chip maker and a key supplier to Apple and Nvidia. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite observer from the 6 Degrees world, Dr. Hex. Today, we have quite the mix of news to discuss, from CEO predictions to stock market records, and even developments in the semiconductor industry. So, let's dive right in. First up, we have SAC CEO Mark Metrick predicting a divided year in 2024, with a slow start but increased consumer excitement in the second half. Well, Mark, let's hope the second half brings enough excitement to make up for the sluggish start. Meanwhile, Stocktwits CEO Rishi Khanna highlights the interest in single stocks among investors, with names like Tesla and Nvidia stealing the spotlight. Looks like these stocks have some serious star power. Lastly, Leadership Circle CEO Bill Adams reminds us of the importance of succession planning and assures us that capitalism is still here to stay. Phew, that's a relief. Moving on to the stock market, we see the Dow Jones Industrial Average hitting its 5th consecutive record close. It seems like nothing can stop the bulls these days. Despite warnings from Federal Reserve officials and the Bank of Japan, investors remain optimistic. Data on the PCE price index later this week will shed more light on the likelihood of interest rate cuts. So, let's keep an eye on that. In the semiconductor world, we have some big news. TSMC, the world's largest contract chip manufacturer, announced that CEO C.C. Wei will be recommended as the successor to Chairman Mark Liu, who will retire next year. This move aims to ensure continuity for TSMC as it faces growing pressure from China. TSMC's business is booming, with plans to build new plants in Germany, Japan, and the US. Looks like TSMC is expanding its empire one chip at a time. Speaking of chips, the southern Chinese province of Guangdong is establishing a hefty $1.5 billion chip industry fund to achieve greater semiconductor self-reliance. It seems like China is determined to reduce its dependence on foreign technology amidst export restrictions. Meanwhile, Hong Kong is seeking funding to establish a research institute focused on developing semiconductor technology. They're not letting export restrictions hold them back either. Looks like the chip game is heating up. Now, let's switch gears to the world of investing. Analysts are split on how the stock market will perform next year, with predictions ranging from a drop to an increase. It seems like no one can agree on anything these days. However, one thing is clear: investors will need to actively manage their portfolios and be flexible in their strategies. Tech companies might take a back seat, and cyclical sectors and small-cap stocks could be the new stars. As for U.S. Treasuries, they're expected to remain volatile, but long-term bond yields are looking attractive. So, get ready to shake up your investing strategy. And now for a bit of technology news. Blockchain's rebirth is apparently happening, but it looks like the US might miss out on the action. While regulators crack down and Congress dithers over passing rules, financial hubs like London are taking the lead. Looks like the US needs to catch up in the blockchain race. Last but not least, we have some unfortunate news for gamers. Insomniac Games, the studio behind Spider-Man 2, has reportedly fallen victim to a ransomware attack. Hackers are demanding a hefty sum to prevent the release of stolen information, including details of future releases and private employee data. This is just the latest in a series of cyber attacks targeting game studios. Looks like the bad guys are trying to level up their hacking skills. Well, folks, that's all the news we have for today. Remember, in the ever-changing world of finance and technology, it's important to stay informed and adapt to new trends. So, keep your eyes peeled and your wits about you. And now, it's time for your thoughts. What do you make of these CEO predictions? Are you ready to switch up your investing strategy? Let's hear your brilliant ideas. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.